I can't believe it. It's 20 years since the original Spend the Night. And what I'm doing is I'm prepping this release at the moment. We've got brand new mixes of Spend the Night. So this is Samson Lewis, it's Golf Clap, Soul Function, a couple more mixes by myself. So that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And what I wanted to do was to give you a deconstruction of one of the mixes that I've done. And this is a return back to that classic version from 1994. So I've recreated the original version. This isn't the H-Man dub, which a lot of people know, but this is going further back, so the original classic mix. So this is a revisited version, and I wanted to give you a kind of behind the scenes look and show you what's going on here. So the track is produced in Ableton Live. One of the things that I have done here is I wanted to give it a bit of a vintage flavor. So I've invested in the Slate Digital VCC, which is a console emulation, and also their virtual bus compressors as well. So that's pretty extensively used over this production. Also the Satin from Yuhi. This is the master chain, that's going on here. So the Slate Digital VCC, this is a virtual console. All right, that's the first one. The second one is the virtual bus compressor. This is the 4000 again. So I'm emulating the sound of the SSL 4000, going through some tape emulation, and that's the Yuhi Satin, which I'm a big fan of. The Vibe EQ just to kind of balance stuff out, and that's just a little bit of a boost on the bottom end, some highs here. Feels a lot better going through that. And then finally the L2 here. All right, so if you're wondering why there's an abundance of high frequency energy here, that's the noise, the hiss that's coming from the Satin. I'll turn that off so you can see that, and I'll come back to this later on. So let's take a look at the elements. I'm going to push play. So whilst it's running, we have here a very classic old school 90s kind of drum programming, and this is with a 909 kit. I'm going to show you the programming elements here, just to let you know that I'm running with a high buffer size, so there is a slight delay in terms of what you're hearing and what you're seeing in Ableton, and that's because I'm recording the screen at the same time. It's a lot for the machine to handle. So you can see the programming using the 16 triplet grid, which is the classic grid that we used back in the day. So no groove template here, just literally 16 triplet. There's a chord stab there. I'll solo that. Just want to show you that what we've got going on is a chain here with a simpler with the chord stab. We've got the EQ3 to roll off some bass, EQ8 for some more detailed EQing. The Slate VCC here, so that's being used to add that vintage color from the SSL 4000. I've got a compressor here, which is an LA2A emulation, another classic compressor we would have found back in the day. And then that's running with an insert of a reverb, and that's just to add some space on there. So what I'll do, I'll play that for you. Let's take the reverb off. So it's really adding a bit of a decay onto the sound there, but still keeping that nice stabby shortness that's going on there. The LA2A is working very, very gently here, just to kind of balance out that level slightly. So this is a gradual build, just taking a look at the structure here. You'll see here that we've got a long gradual build up until about bar 49. That's when the chorus hook comes in. Then there is a verse, which has got a slight difference to it musically, then a repeat of the chorus, and then an outro. What I found when I was messing around with the structure of this track was that it felt like a little bit too cliched when I had a breakdown about 2/3 of the way through. So I ended up with a structure here that was really quite interesting. When I was listening to it, I started to feel, once I've listened to it, I actually wanted to listen to it again. So it's got this kind of repeat play kind of vibe to it. And that's, I think, because of these key musical differences, and how this outro is something definitely, once you've heard it, you think, yeah, I want to hear that again. So I can imagine DJs playing around with that, or maybe some kind of variations, special versions that DJs will make when they play in the club. And you'll get a sense of that when you listen to the full track. So gradually introducing new elements as we go here. So the chord. Crash is, of course, used to signify the beginning of the 8-bar sections, and also a midpoint with the splash. That's the 909 sounds. Bass is coming from Reactor. This is Razor. And the Barnaby patch, which is a great deep house patch, very classic sounding. Running through the Slate VCC again for that SSL 4000 flavor. LA28 compressor again, working a bit harder, you can see that. And then also some sidechain compression here from the kick. It's difficult, you know, this particular bass line has notes where the bass is hitting at the same time as the kick. So we've got ourselves a build up to the point when the chorus is coming in. High string coming from the Korg M1. Let me just also solo the mute brass that's coming there. A real classic sounding M1 patch. This is the muted brass. You'll hear that again later on. So really, we're just taking it up to the chorus. Vocal sample. And then I took these fills from the H-Man dub. Look. And even though they weren't in that classic original version, I wanted to give this just a touch of flavor of that H-Man dub, which is you know, those fills. It's just a little audio cue for people to realize, oh my gosh, it's that Spend the Night track again, if they didn't understand what's going on here with the classic kind of vibe. So we're diving into the chorus. The bass has got this nice little variation which is different to the original, where it goes higher, those notes, and the strings. And you'll just notice here that there's a contrast. You know, the chorus has got a repeat of the vocal, and then we've got new chords that come in to make it feel a bit fresher after the first 8 bars, and then the string as well. Strings very much inspired by the old kind of classic soul kind of vibe. It's Not Over, for example. Have a listen. Notice at key sections with the beats that the kick drops out so that it helps the transition. And there's also wind chimes. So here we go, we've got the chords. So this is kind of like a verse. It's just a little kind of relaxed vibe, you know. Then we've got a vocal. The mute brass patch coming in again. Same strings as before. Dropping down. So, you know, I found it was quite difficult to go from that verse section into the chorus, and the easiest way to make that transition was to create the fill. All right, it's a pretty standard thing a lot of people would do. So once again, we've got an echo of that H-Man dub occurring here. On the vocal, ping pong delay, EQ. See, it's really dry if I take the delay off. Still sounds alright, but I want to have that echo on there. And here's part, this is like the outro section. Also notice that Night With You vocal was a transitional bridge there, so that allows these two sections to work well. So 2 chords working really nicely there and now. And then we have a little bit of a breakdown, which really reminds me of the 90s. That mute brass sound played in that way sounds really kind of like those old Masters at Work dubs. So this has got that real kind of basement kind of vibes. So we've got an outro bass line now, so different notes. Well, I mean, some of them are the same, but it's just got a different kind of vibe to it. Some of them pitched slightly differently. And then my classic Arco strings. There we go. And these are, once again, M1 Arco string, proper classic. So really we're heading out for DJs now to be mixing in the next track. The strings are just fading down with a nice little curve there. Very simple production, very simple arrangement, but that's how we used to do it back in the day. The audio, the signal is vibing like the 90s because of the settings that I've got here. Back onto this, look, this is that SSL 4000 bus compressor emulator, which I'm a big fan of. It just kind of glues the mix together. And really, there's no point in me kind of switching stuff in and out here, to be honest, because there's just too much going on and we'd have to look at stuff, elements individually. So I will try to do a video where we have a look at this Slate VCC stuff and the Slate virtual bus compressors, because I've got to say I'm a huge fan. I was reluctant to get that iLock, but I can put up with it because the sonic benefits are there. So big fan of the Slate stuff now for sure. So that's a nice little deconstruction there, just showing you some of the elements. Very simple, but works really effectively. Very happy with it. Definitely a return back to that classic 90s vibe for me. And watch out for the full release coming soon. There are some seriously good mixes there, and really looking forward to putting this one out.